everyone, I hope you're ready for a new build. I sure am. I built an ESP stream bass with a fretless top portion some builds back. And now I want to make the guitar version. And I have some fun wood and some fun hardware that's gonna go into this build. So I hope you're up for this new journey. So I'll walk you through all the hardware and all the wood, and we'll take it from there. So this is what we're playing with. We got a body made from torrefied ash. So you get this darker color, which looks really nice. And as a top, I have Indian rosewood. And since it's a stream guitar, they're gonna be layered. Like my previous bass build, there'll be a smaller top wood in the middle, and then the torrefied ash will shine through on the edges. And maybe some dye to enhance that grain. And for the neck, I have this piece of paduk. It's a bariol paduk, so you have these lighter streaks moving along the grain, which looks really unique. And for the fretboard, I found this African ebony that's not completely dark, but have these cool streaks into it. I'm pretty sure this is some kind of spill that will probably sand off. But you see the difference here of having one piece that's lighter with some dark streaks and having a darker piece of wood with lighter streaks. And I'm not sure which version will go better, but I'll figure that out. And here we got the hardware that I'm planning for this beast of a guitar. I got my hands on a Evertune. I have not built a guitar with an Evertune before, but I've worked with it on several customers' guitars. And I find it fascinating, the fact that you can put it in a state where any type of bend will not affect tone at all. So it's like the perfect rhythm guitar where you won't go out of tune. Every string has an individual spring, and it corresponds to the fact that it never goes out of tune. It always holds the pitch that you've put in. And you can put them in different zones, which means that when you're in your zone, it's in tune. And when you do a bend, you bend out of the zone. It's very fascinating. And the one I found is a Gibson style. I would have wanted to have like just a regular hardtail style, but this one I got for half the price, which is really nice. So I'll just build it accordingly. And then I will also have a little mini switch because I'm using lace pickups, the Alumitone. A single coil version for the neck and their standard Alumitone for the bridge. And since these are passive but as silent as an active, I don't need a 9-volt battery, but they still have modes that you can switch between. So that's why I'm going to use a little mini switch. Besides that, I have some nice gold go-to tuners, a little chunky and small, gold hardware, some abalone inlays that I'll probably use just for the fret markers, and I found some stainless steel frets already pre-cut from Hasco. We have a standard 2-way truss rod and your electronic bits and bobs, a gold 3-way switch and a gold output jack. Since the last instrument had a really nice oil finish, for this one I'll go full gloss to have that mirror-like shine. I think it will look really nice. So with all this, I'm hoping that I have the groundworks for a fun instrument. And along the way, we'll see what types of twists and turns I'll get myself into with this instrument. Hope you will enjoy the ride. This is my go-to way of writing out guitar prints. I take a photo and then I turn it into a PDF. And then when I get to the settings, I go to poster, and here is the tricky part. I measure the picture in pixels and I run it through ChatGPT to kind of get an estimate of what that would be in centimeters. And I calculated it to be 336%. To get a poster that you can print, and you add some cut marks, and then you write that out. And then what you're left with is these marks that you will glue up and line up. And this is not an exact replication. You will have to measure and make sure that you're within bounds. But most importantly, it's kind of for the general shape. What I will do once I cut this together and glue it up, so it's not a perfect representation, but what I will do is that I will lay on a translucent paper and then I will trace the general shape of the project. And then I'll use proper measurements for the scale length and everything else, since there might be some changes. As long as the scale length is kind of right, I can then use proper measurements to fix everything. There we go. After some cutting and gluing, I now have a little starting point. And this isn't perfect, but it's roughly there. And once I use this just to trace out the body shape, I can then go in and do the type of edits that I want, maybe changing it up a bit, and also making sure that the humbucker is perfectly aligned and the right dimensions, and that I have the right width of the nut, and so on. So it's a kind of brute force way to just get yourself started. So here we have the bass line for the guitar. And as you can see, when I was drawing out all the frets didn't correspond with the picture, because the picture is just a rough estimation. The most important measurement is the frets, because if that is somewhat messed up, you won't have intonation across the fretboard. Also, in the picture, when taken from above, the headstock is tilted back, meaning that this will not be a good representation either for the length of the headstock. So when I come there, I'll have a rough outline, but I'll make it a little bit bigger, but it's a bit of a guesstimation. Of course, also with my tuners, I will place them accordingly, but it's just a general shape. And then I'll see how I'll go about with ornamenting it, and how I will place the rosewood on the top, how I will let the torrefied ash shine through. It will be a journey, and I hope you will join me for it.
Tellurians, please like, share, and subscribe and all that jazz. Until next time, ta-ta!